right, we'll call the city council meeting to order at 6 p.m. Wednesday, January 7th, 2026. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes. Here.
Here.
Aye.
All right, 4 present, we have a quorum. We're going to open up with the invocation with Carl Hint.
Dear Lord, I want to thank you for all of our many blessings. Mount Pleasant's a wonderful town. Things are looking up in this town, and it's all because of you. Please bless us and help us do the right things for our town. Dear Lord, we love you. Amen.
Amen. And pledge allegiance. All right, we're going to go in go into open session. Public comments. The City Council welcomes citizen participation and comments at all council meetings. Citizens' comments are limited to 3 minutes out of respect for everyone's time. The council is not permitted to respond to your comments. The Texas Open Meetings Act requires that the topic of discussion and deliberation be posted on the agenda not less than 72 hours in advance of the council meeting. If your comments relate to a topic that is on the agenda, the council will discuss that topic on the agenda at the time the topic is discussed or deliberated. Do we have any comments, questions? We're good? Okay, this is gonna be kind of like last night. We're gonna move into executive session pursuant to Open Meetings Act.
Mayor, I think the executive session item was put on there as a holding place in case you needed to go into executive session. So if you don't, you don't. I would prefer.
I think all we're gonna do is discuss a couple of the changes in the 380s, and city manager wanted to do that in our public forum.
Correct.
All right, yes, let's go ahead and move on to item number 1, discuss and consider assistance in economic development packages, including possible agreements under Chapter 380 and 381 of the Texas Local Government Code with Andersontown Crossing Partnership, LLC, and that's going to be our city manager, Rob Vine.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, good evening again. We met last night. Before we move on, we do have a few people here that will be speaking about this, but before we do that, I would like to thank you and congratulate all of you. This is the first time, I believe, of recent history that we've had a 380, that this group has discussed participating in one, and I think throughout the process, you've asked for a joint workshop, which we did. We had one again last night, and I think it was very successful. The fact that everyone was there and asked good questions and followed throughout the process. I just want to thank you for going through that process with staff and also showing that you support good development and that development is responsible. So again, last night we had a joint workshop with Titus County Commissioners to discuss a possible development incentive agreement at 380 with the developer for the construction of an anchor store located in the Andersontown Crossing development. And again, tonight with us, we have Jason Claunch with Catalyst Commercial, who has been working with us on this project from the beginning, representing the developer. Again, he's here tonight. I will ask him to come up here and briefly and give us a quick refresher and for the record, talk about the project, just like you did last night. Thank you, Jason.
There you go. Is that better? All right. Mayor, Manager, thank you for letting me come here and speak. I do agree. I think last night was super productive. As you know, this petition for the 380 agreement is essentially to support a national Texas-based retailer. They have over 300 stores and produce about $5.9 billion in revenue. We strongly feel like this will be catalytic to the project. We've done the math. Definitely, in addition to the incentives, this creates substantial revenue and jobs to the town that you wouldn't have. And we definitely feel like this is a great addition to not only the town but the project. So I'm here to answer any questions. Thanks for having me tonight, and we appreciate your consideration in advance.
Are we asking questions now about are you gonna go over the changes?
I will. Yes, ma'am.
It-
Go ahead.
And, Kelly, you were asking about closures and stuff like that. I did a little bit of research today. Yeah, like the box store that's coming in, the anchor store that's coming in. It says that, as far as I could find, 2 stores in their history, they've closed down. One, the lease ended, and the other one, it said it wasn't sure why. Out of all the stores that they have, that's what I found, so, sorry.
No,
Go ahead,
you're
Rob.
fine. Thank you, Mayor. During last night's workshop, you were each provided with a presentation that defined what an anchor store was, explained the 380, and also, since the county was here, what a 381 agreement is. And then also, we went into the specific terms of the proposed agreement for both the city and the county, 380 and 381. At the conclusion of that meeting, you were provided with a hard copy of the latest draft of the 380 agreement. That was the latest and greatest version. As of this afternoon, a few minor changes were made. That final draft was emailed to each of you, but then also printed off, and you should have that in hard copy form in front of you. What I would like to do is go through that. And also online, I'll add that Mr. Frank Garza with DTRG Law is online, and Jim Sabonis with Hilltop should also be online. And I may refer to Frank for some of these changes, but if you look, we'll just go through page by page so we don't miss anything. And if I do, if you have a question on something that I have not covered, please feel free to stop me. One of the first things on page 1, under recitals, whereas Creative Destination Development LLC currently owns the property for a development project in the city of Mount Pleasant in Titus County, Texas, and intends to sell the property to developer upon execution of this agreement. That is new. That was not included in there because if you look at the second paragraph, it states the developer is the owner of a project in the city of Mount Pleasant, Titus County, Texas. Those 2 statements are incongruent, so we had to make a change to make sure that those 2 sentences were in line with each other. On page 2, section 2.1, the only change on there was from 5.4, you see was crossed out. It's now section refers to section 5.1. So that was just cleaning up a little not terminology, but which section it's referring to. On page 3, section 3.3, the word term was replaced with period. Section 3.5, also on page 3, basis for calculating the grant. You can see the section that was crossed out. And then what was added, I'll go to the very last sentence. For each year, developer will cause the anchor tenant to provide to the city the following documentation. 3.7, also on page 3, in parentheses, the city grant cap was added. That way we're able to refer to city grant cap versus the spelling out the 2,700,000 every time. Go to page 8. Page, yes. Yes, ma'am. Can you turn your microphone on, please, ma'am? 3.7? Yes, ma'am.
On item 3.7, that says 2.5, but on 3.7 on the new document, it's, I'm sorry, it's 2.5, yeah, and on the second document, it is 2784. The 2784 is the correct number.
Correct. Yes, ma'am. And those were the numbers that were presented last night. And as a result of that, just as a side note, the county's initial agreement was for 1, and now there goes down to, or is reduced to 724,000. But it is a true 95% estimate of our 15 years at 95% and their 10 years at 95%. Page 8, section 5.6, B, and I'll just read the entire paragraph. In the event of a breach of this agreement by a developer beyond the applicable cure period, the city may seek to exercise its right to enforce the developer's obligation hereunder. And what was crossed out is recapture any sales tax rebates provided by anchor tenant, if any. There is not a true clawback or a recapture clause. In the event that a correction is not made that is required by the agreement, and notification is made and the cure period has expired, and the correction still has not been made, the agreement is null and void at that. That's what that terminology refers to. No changes on page 9, signature page, page 10, no changes, 11 and 12, no changes. Jason, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think Rob did a good job of clarifying, obviously the sequence, but, there's a process where as soon as this, document is agreed to, then we'll have a PSA, and then that process will be in motion. We just didn't want to misrepresent the ownership status. And the other, item in terms of reporting is simple. To maintain confidentiality, we're gonna require that the anchor reports their sales directly to the city, and that maintains their confidentiality. They appreciate that, so we'll require them to do that, and then obviously you'll have your own comptroller data, and everything else is really clerical. But thank you.
Thank you, Jason. Frank Garza, is there anything that you would like to add? You've done some extensive good work on this agreement. I
No.
definitely appreciate that. But do you have anything to add, sir?
No, I really don't. I think you covered the changes from last night's to today's document very well. There's really nothing else to add.
Thank you, Frank. Are there any questions of anything we have not covered from council?
I do. So, can you explain the first change, which was under the recitals on page 1? So compared to last night's and today, where it says Creative Destination Development LLC currently owns the property and that it's going to be sold to the developer. Can you explain that?
Jason, would you like?
Yeah, so the developer in this case is a special purpose entity. As I'd mentioned, there's a specific team to develop the store that has experience, the balance sheet and wherewithal. So this property where the track sits will actually be sold to the development group that will actually ultimately build the facility, the store, and own it, manage it, will have the lease with the tenant. So the current owner, John Anderson, or Creative Destinations, will no longer be the owner of that. It'll be transferred with the purchase and sale agreement to the developer for the project.
Can you name us who the developer is? Because I just thought it was all John Anderson.
No, it's an LLC with a special purpose entity. Mark Morocco, myself, Steve Harriman, the gentleman that was with you last night. Those are all 3 of the partners that will be involved in the project. That's correct.
If there are no further questions, staff recommends the Chapter 380 Economic Development Incentive and Performance Agreement between the City of Mount Pleasant, Texas, and Anderson Town Crossing for the anchor tenant be approved as presented. That would be the motion.
All right, can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 380 agreement for Anderson Crossing to bring in the anchor store.
I second.
Madam Secretary, can we get a vote?
Yes.
Aye.
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 All right, it passed unanimously. Gosh, that was easy. All right. That's it. All right.
If I could just take a moment to thank Frank for being online tonight, and then also Jim and Jason, and then the other individuals that were here to help support this. Thank you very much for coming.
Ready?
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 2. Discuss and consider appropriate actions regarding road construction expenses for I-30 Business Park Road in the amount not to exceed $350,000, and that'll be presented by our EDC Director, Kevin Carter.
Mayor, council, thanks for letting me be here, and I certainly appreciate the time that y'all take to look at new things. I think, what y'all just approved is gonna be a huge game changer for our community. It's going to help with quality of life. That project, it's very exciting for our city, and the fact that it's going in Mount Pleasant and not in one of our neighbors, is a big thing, and so I appreciate y'all taking the time to learn and to approve that, and we're really excited. I think it'll be a big selling point for us going forward. I have 3 things for you tonight. The first one is I-30 Business Park Road. Am I in charge of this thing, Candace? Or? Okay, not that good at driving. So, what this road will do is I think this road's been talked about for several months at least. On the east side of LTS, on Commerce Drive, which is in our I-30 Business Park, LTS is the largest supplier or largest dealer of Toyota forklifts in the country. They're based in Tyler, and they have a facility here, and they want to expand that facility into a full-fledged dealership. And to do that, they need better access for truck delivery and pickup on the east side of their property. And so with this road, what that would do is, you can see that road's probably, I don't have my glasses on, so I don't know what the distance is on that road, but what it does, it goes down all the way down their property line. They're actually gonna deed some of their property to us to build that road, so some of that property will be on their road, but they're gonna deed that to us to build that road. What that does is it helps them develop their project into and expand, but what it also does is it helps us develop that east side of that property there. That tract there is about 25 acres that can be split, into 1, 2, or 3 tracts right there with curb cut. For smaller development, if we have a smaller business, or the whole facility, a business could use that whole road and that whole tract over there. The EDC board approved this on November 13th, up to $350,000 for the cost of the road. Is what we're anticipating. BG&E, our engineering firm, did the cost study, and so that is what we're asking y'all to approve, is up to $350,000 to build that road. We are building it to city street standards, so if the city wanted to take over that road as a public road, they could. Right now, it's gonna be a private road until the city takes that over.
Is it concrete, Kevin?
It will be concrete.
I saw the roundabout. I saw it in the meeting too. Is that where 18-wheelers are gonna be turning around, or?
It could. It gives them the opportunity to do that. Because right now, what they have to do is they have to go down and turn around at the end of the road, and it's put some wear on that end of the road.
Oh, yeah. So are other businesses that are gonna be on either side of that, will they have access to that, do you know?
If we had business go into that, where it says future development opportunity, then they would have access to that. All we'd have to do is do a curb cut.
That's great, yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. Any questions? We good? You ready to make a motion? All right. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve the $350,000 to road improvements at the I-30 Business Park.
I second.
Madam Secretary, can we get a vote, please?
Aye.
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 Yes.
All right. Good job, Kevin. Motion
thank
passed
you.
unanimously.
Appreciate y'all.
All right. Item number 3, discuss and consider appropriate action on match for high demand job training grant not to exceed $50,000, and this is also Kevin.
Yeah, what High Demand Job Training Grant is a program that's offered by the Texas Workforce Commission as a matching grant for communities, EDCs, to put up 4A or 4B money to get matched by Texas Workforce Commission on a one-to-one basis to allow EDCs to help either school districts or community college districts to expand their workforce programs in high-demand job training on high-demand jobs. Whether that's, manufacturing, HVAC, plumbing, anything that fits the outlines in the 4A code on jobs that we can help with. So I've done this in every community that I've been in, and then the EDC has done this, the Mount Pleasant EDC has done this as well in the past. They've done a high-demand job training grant for Northeast Texas Community College. What this grant would do is it would put $50,000 of the EDC's money up with $50,000 from Texas Workforce Commission, and the what we're asking y'all to do is contingent upon us getting the grant. So the $50,000 would be contingent upon us getting the grant. But the way that we would use the monies is we would give $30,000 to Mount Pleasant ISD, $20,000 to Chapel Hill, $20,000 to Harts Bluff, and $30,000 to Northeast Texas Community College for their continuing technical education. And so I know that I kind of briefly talked with the 3 superintendents and Northeast Texas Community College about doing something like this. We have not got wish lists, so we don't know what they're going to use. We wanted to make sure that we got the grant before we asked them to give us what they're going to buy with that. So I know we have a couple of representatives. I don't know if that's why they're here, but I appreciate them being here. Dr. Kevin Rose and Judd from Mount Pleasant ISD, superintendent, and I appreciate them being here and what they do for our community. I think this is a great way for us to help. Their career and technical education programs at the school districts are top notch, and then what's going on at the community college is just incredible what they're doing with all of their programs, especially in their automotive tech and healthcare. What they do it's second to none, and so we're very appreciative that they're in our community. But we're asking for y'all to approve the $50,000. The board approved that on November 13th.
So
Certainly answer any questions.
Well, I was curious, will we get more details on what the money will be going to whenever it
Yeah,
does come around?
absolutely. So we'll do a report. What we'll do is if y'all were to approve that, we'll visit with Texas Workforce Commission to make sure the funds are available still. They should be. I mean, there was plenty of money in there when the board approved that. And so what we'll do is we'll notify the school districts for sure what they have to spend, and then they put a list together of what that looks like. Some may want welding supplies, some may want robotic equipment, or we'll just have to find out. But as soon as we know, I'll include it in one of my quarterly reports and report back to y'all what they bought.
Okay. Awesome.
So,
that's great.
but it has to go through a process with bid process on what they buy, and so hopefully they'll buy larger items. I know it's easier on the grant if they buy larger items than buying like $50 items. It kind of makes it tough. But anyway, we will report back to what they buy.
Okay. Are they allowed to help students with any of that money?
No, it has to go to equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions? All right. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the EDC's corporation match for high demand job training grant not to exceed 50.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Madam Secretary, can we get a vote, please?
Aye.
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 Yes.
All right. It passes unanimously. Good job, Kevin.
Thank you, Mayor.
Item number 4, discuss and consider appropriate action on Mount Pleasant Economic Development Corporation Policies Procedure Manual. Hey, Kevin, just to let everybody know, this is stuff you've brought to us. I knew a lot of this stuff you brought to us like 2 months ago to start reviewing, right?
Yes, we have talked about all of these things. At least I've talked to y'all at least either individually or we've talked about it in executive session.
Yeah, and I was thinking I didn't know if it was public or not, but this is just part of our transparency, and the communication with EDC is just unbelievable. So, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, what this is this is a policy and procedure manual for the EDC. The city has policy and procedure manual for its employees. A lot of people may not know, but the Mount Pleasant EDC is a separate corporation, and myself and staff are employees of the corporation and not the city. We do pay the city to be employees or paid as employees, and so we needed a policy and procedure manual. That I think this was being worked on over the last 6 months or so, and so we think we've got it to the tweaked where everybody was happy on the board, and so just a few of the highlights. It talks about just general policies and procedures for us, work schedules. It talks about employment information and requirements, work hours and pay. One of the things is it talks about how we're paid. We follow, since we're paying the city to be basically employees. If you didn't know, the EDC pays the city $15,000 a year to be its fiscal agent. And I am working on a fiscal agent policy. I visited with Mr. Vine about that. I think it's important for us to have an agreement between the EDC and the city that y'all are acting as our fiscal agent. So I've just about got the fiscal agent policy done, and so that's something that we'll bring to the board and we'll bring to y'all as a body for y'all to approve as well. But in that, one of the things is the employee benefits and pay schedule as it relates, especially with the benefits. We thought it was important for us to follow the same benefit schedule as the employees of the city. And so that's in section 5. And really we made that a simple statement, is that we're gonna follow the the city of Mount Pleasant employee guidelines when it comes to employee benefits. So we're gonna get the same sick pay, same vacation schedule, same holiday schedule as the city follows. We thought that was important. And then one of the things that is a huge thing for us at the EDC is the travel policy. We were not, as far as being transparent with the community, I don't think it had ever been done, is that when we travel to a conference, or we travel to see site selectors, or whatever it is, when we go out of town and we feel, and we've spent the night in a hotel, or we've spent mileage or money and meals out of town, there's travel expenditure form now. And so staff will fill those out. It'll have the receipts attached to that. If people want to see those, then they certainly can ask for those to see. I have the authority to sign off on staffs, and then either the board chair or the board vice chair will sign off on mine, because I think that's important, that I'm not signing my own travel report. And so, and we've already implemented that when I first got here. I thought it was important for us to have that accountability to the public when it comes to us spending taxpayer money for travel. So that's one of the things that's outlined in here. And then there's a conflict of interest statement that all of the employees and the board members will have to sign to make sure that they abide by that, because we do, just like y'all do, you have to vote on things that you may have a conflict in, and all it does is outline when you have to step away and not be part of that. And I know that we've had a couple of those things. I know Councilmember Hinton, you've stepped out on one of the items in executive session because you had a conflict, and I know Councilmember Hageman has stepped out on something that we've talked about, and that's really important for us to make sure that we abide by those conflicts of interest. So that's one of the things in there, and that's a highlight. The board did approve that on November 13th, so I think y'all have had a copy of this for quite a while to look at, but I'd certainly answer any questions about the manual.
So it's not really a question, but I want you to clarify it in
Yes,
case
ma'am.
people are listening. And I can't remember what you said. Okay. So you're paying the city as an agent.
Y'all are, the city is the agent. So we're paying the city to do our accounting, our monthly accounting. They do our benefit. Basically, we're paying the city for us to be an employee. So they handle our payroll and retirement. But it's
So-
all pass-through money. So, whatever, if that's $25,000 a month, the city withdraws that $25,000 from the EDC's account.
So the only thing I want to clarify, was, Jillian's not here. So my understanding is that we have clerks, bookkeeping clerks, that are in the back, and they just do the input. And so it's not Jillian per se, I'm looking over at Candace or Rob, but it's somebody that's just doing the input that y'all pass on. And they are not authorized to raise a red flag if there's something that doesn't line up. The only time, my understanding when I asked, again, this was a year ago, that a red flag is raised is if the total amount goes over the budget that y'all have submitted. So I know last year when there were questions that people were saying that we had, that's why I asked, that we had the authority to raise a red flag over what you guys were doing, and that's why I checked, just to make sure that we just do the input, but you are gonna be, you're the one watching the red flags.
That's correct. Yeah, you know, our board obviously approves a budget, and then you know, approve the budget that the board has approved, because that's one of your roles with the Economic Development Corporation, is you're over approving that budget after the board's approved that budget. And so you hope you've hired the right person to watch that budget. But certainly, the city sees that, obviously, with Councilmember Corbell, the mayor, and the city manager are on that board, and they see those financials every month. Like tomorrow, we're gonna have a board meeting. Those financials are presented every month, and you have the ability to ask questions during that time, or you have the ability to ask questions anytime during the month. Hey, what'd you spend, you know, this money on? Certainly, we wanna be transparent with the public on what that money's being spent on, if they have a question.
Thank you. I just wanted it to be transparent for those that were listening.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilman.
And if I might be able to add one thing, just in addition to what you've said, it doesn't matter what level of responsibility you have here with the city. If you see something that is of concern, it should be reported, and you're encouraged to report.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
What I would say is, what I heard the EDC director inform you is that they put in a protocol, right, for approval. And so I think that's what he was saying was missing before, and so that should resolve that, right? Like, so then I think the city employee, if there was lacking approval, would say, oh, I heard, I think it's.
So basically, it mirrors city policy with the added NDA and the way that y'all have to travel and stuff like that. It's got stuff in there for the expenditures that are a little bit different.
That's
right?
correct, because we do travel a little bit more than city
Yeah, I
employees,
mean,
and
that's
so we wanted to
What's your
implement
job?
that.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
exactly. Any questions?
I don't have a question, I have a statement.
Okay.
I am so proud of you.
Well,
And
thank
I
you.
am so proud, I'm looking over at Mike and Ermin and Jeanette, because, last year, when, we were not covering our tail, and that's then when we started looking into things. And I'm so proud of you guys for fixing this so that, we will do it the right way this going forward, and I just thank y'all so much for doing that.
It was a great job. All right, you wanna vote on that policy, item number 4? Let's get a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the EDC handbook.
Can I get a second?
I second.
Is that okay, Lee?
Yes, I think so. I think
Perfect,
it's,
yeah. It seemed simple. I was just
by
making
the-
sure.
By the handbook, I think you're referring to the policies and procedures manual, is that right?
Yes. I'll make a motion to approve the policy and procedures manual.
All right, Madam Secretary, can we get a vote, please?
Yes.
Aye.
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 All right, passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job, Kim.
I will say this for everybody, and especially those people listening, is that it is a new era here. It is a new relationship between EDC, the county, the city council, and our co-partners. It's taken a lot of work, but we are really, really in a good place with all of our relationships.
Absolutely, yep. Good job, everyone. Well, believe it or not, that's it. Can we, oh, what,
I will just add this, and I should have said it earlier when it came to the Anderson Crossing project, is that this is such a great movement for our city. It's going to open the door for some growth along the I-30 corridor. It is going to be a blessing to all of us. We are all going to benefit, I think, from this. And there again, the meeting last night, I was so happy that we all came together. We answered all the questions. We gave everybody the opportunity to express everything they had to say. And we came out with people more informed and in a better state and in a better place mentally over the relationship that we have with our co-partners, the way this council has conducted itself, the way we have worked diligently to try to find every answer that needs to be given, no matter where you're from in this area. We owe it to everybody to thoroughly vet everything that comes before us, and that's what we have tried to do, and I think that's what we will continue to do in the future with your help.
I ran into one of the commissioners this morning, and they specified that they loved the meeting last night. They hope we continue because it was such a joint thing. And when I go back and think of some of the projects that we've done in the past, I think it would have been wonderful if they had been on board with us back then. So knowing that they're on board with having a joint relationship for the future is wonderful. So, yay.
And with all of that being said, I guess I can touch on one more small thing, since we are entering a new era, and I think everyone knows they can reach us, right? The council's willing to talk to anybody. Maybe reach out to us before you comment on Facebook or social media or something like that. If you want to speculate, reach out to us. Any of us will talk to you. Personal cell phones are on the, or, you know, they're on the web. Our email's on there. So we will be glad to talk about any details or questions that you need answers